The state, and thus the state's enforcers, the police, come into existence in human society where you have class strata, where you have those who have and those who don't have. The state and the police are there to enforce class dominance. They're there to enforce the will of the ruling class of a particular nation and people. And the exact form that they take on is dependent on their material conditions. That's why here in the United States, where we have systemic supremacy, the police too have systemic supremacy within that institution. Socialist society, like what you're talking about here, the police take on a different form. They're there to enforce the will of the ruling class, which would be the workers, which would be the masses of society, where the police and the state here work to enforce the will of a small minority of people, the ruling class, the wealthiest people in our country. However, in a workers' state, the police would take on the role of suppressing the counter-revolution, of suppressing capitalists, of suppressing reactionaries and Yazis. Contradictions that a system creates, like capitalism, like supremacy, don't go away overnight. These are things that will take time to be worked out and addressed. And that's what a socialist state does. It empowers the people to be able to address these contradictions like racism, sexism, etc. These are things that the ruling class uses to divide and conquer the population. These are not things that are human conditions. It is not human nature to be racist, to be misogynist. These are things that come from the system itself. And your point that we wouldn't have to police an egalitarian society is idealist. This isn't really true. You can't see that anywhere in this world because what you're talking about is utopian. And what we're pointing out here over and over is that there's no such thing as a utopian society. That's not what communism is, and that's not what we're talking about here. We address the contradictions through the transitional period, which is what socialism is. We address the contradictions that capitalism has created, that colonialism has created over time. We can address these contradictions and we can begin to eliminate what causes them to begin with. And that is how we get to an egalitarian society.